Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will begin our presentation now. The presentation is being recorded. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Tennyson has a few slides to share, so we will give it a few seconds for her to begin.
I just wanted to know, show of hands or typed in the chat box, where is everybody today? What schools are being represented? So just do your thing. To chat, raise your hands, tell Susanna, where is everybody today? You're here in this office. Susanna, is anybody responding, like maybe at Hartnell or Mission or Solano?
You see Hartnell.
Hartnell, yay! Good to see ya. Where else?
Mission College.
Welcome. Let's get going. Here we are at Napa Valley College, and I really appreciate everyone here, and our ambassador Gavin is with us today. And he'll be my leg man, making sure I get through this presentation. Today is the last session of Building Sustainability and Adaptability, Part 3. Do you guys remember when we first started this presentation? Way back in September, we were all in person at Kaiser, and we started talking about why are these issues important? Why do we need to be sustainable, adaptable, all of that, and why is resilience, which is one of the key words that we've been using in the past, is important as you start your career in healthcare and pre-med. Next slide. So today's welcome and introductions. We won't focus too much on that. We're going to talk about what we've learned already. Focus wheel is a new concept that I want to share with you from all students in college. We're going to probably do some review on core beliefs, values, thoughts, and feelings. We're going to talk again about thinking traps, a case study, and then we're going to do final comments and takeaways. Any questions? Do you remember what we did last time? Who was here last time? Did we talk about thinking trap? Can someone define that for me? Go ahead, Neil. Okay, I'll come back to you later. Okay, so like I said, this is about how we think about things and how it impacts our values, our thoughts, and feelings. And last time, who was here last time? Yeah, do you guys remember what we did in a small group? We got together and we talked about some beliefs that we had as we were growing up and stuck with us. Do you remember what some of the beliefs you had?
Just like being too hard on yourself and stuff like that.
Perfect example. We're going to talk about that again, okay? Because sometimes I bet many of you thought about these issues since we last talked, but maybe now we can think about where you changed from being too hard on yourself, or thinking you're a failure, all of those and above, okay? My next slide, please. This I found online, and it talks about what we call the focus wheel. I always worried about the students because you have so much to think about, right? Guess what? They came up with 8 different areas that makes a holistic approach to you as a student. 8. Okay? What does that mean? We start with academics. What's that? That's about your classes, your school, your study, everything that has to do with your plans around school. How many really felt the first day they came on this campus lost? Lost. How do you feel today? Do you feel more lost? Do you feel less lost? Do you feel good about yourself that you tackled and succeeded first semester? They're nodding their heads, Susanna. If you don't see it, they're nodding their heads. And feel free, if you are on Zoom on Teams from middle schools, feel free to include yourself. Feel free to just say, hey, I want to share. It's okay. This is all about how you have progressed. You have grown. Right? From a scale of 1 to 5, feeling lost at maybe 2, where do you guys feel today? You feel like you can? A 4. A 4, solid 4. Okay? So you're going from academics. Okay, school community. Remember how I talked about belonging? Guess what? The studies show if you create a community at your school, and with your family, and with your community outside of school, you are more likely to succeed. Let me be very, very clear on that. Belonging in a community means you're more likely to complete your education and succeed. Again, commitment to complete. That's just the why. Why are you here? Why are you in school? Why is this important to you? Why do you want to become a doctor? That's the goal in the back of your head. This is why I come to school every day. This is why I forsake being out there with my friends. This is why I'm here. Okay? Any questions? I'm going fast, but this is something I really wanted to share with you because oftentimes, how many feel overwhelmed? So much is happening in your lives today. So much is happening in the world today, and we feel overwhelmed. I can see why. So part of this is how do you find folks in your community that help you succeed? Commitment to complete. What's your goal? Why do you want to be here? Why is school important? Then your career path is your goals. Just your college, your vocational goals, your career goals. It's about meeting with folks, building that community. It's about succeeding. Every person on this campus, and every the Mission at Hartnell, Solano, all our colleges at Kaiser, our goal is for you to succeed. Any questions on that? Manage your commitments. Okay, this is a hard one. What do you think managing commitments means? Go ahead, go for it.
By keeping your word about things that you do, so whether it be your job or class or hang out with friends or research purposes, you make a promise to do, making sure that they're not overlapping, you're not stressing yourself out about something that.
Exactly. Setting your priorities, making sure you're not overwhelmed. I will tell you, I'm not the first person here in this room to say, "Ooh, I overcommitted." Say overcommitted. This is why it's managing commitments, making sure that you succeed and not taking on too much work. We all want to volunteer. We all want to help. We all want to do something. But remember, your priority is to complete your education and take care of yourself. Because that's what's key. The finances is about money. Are you accessing financial aid? Are you getting scholarships? Do you know how to budget your funds? Do you know how to budget how much money you have? How much money you get from scholarship? Those are super important. Okay? If you get stressed about that, we all are struggling with gas being higher, food being higher, but it means sitting down with somebody to help, getting help around health. Same thing of managing your time, managing your commitments, it's managing your finances. Health and support. Guess what? If you're not feeling good, so really prioritizing and making sure that you take care of yourself and that you're in good health. How many of us get really cold and bad? Just feel really icky and decide to go to school and feel ickier? Stay home. Stay home. Effectiveness is really important. Let's really talk about that. That's the one that we talk about time management. That talks about completing tasks and meeting deadlines. Are you effective? Are you doing what you need to do? Any questions? What do you think of this? Does it seem overwhelming? Remember, you're the center. It's your role. You want to make sure you're taking care of you, taking care of yourself. Next slide. Building community is number one. I mentioned this from day one. Building the community is critical. How many of you folks have found these 5 people that you can now go to since September when classes began? How many of you? And how have they helped you? And in turn, how have you helped them? Why is it important to have a community? Go ahead, Naomi.
I think that got at least 3 people on a regular out of school, and it's helped me when I get superiors from the class who get hired, and they're kind of like both my motivation and sometimes the kick in the teeth that I need to get back in the gym.
Did everyone hear that one? It's about the person that will keep you motivated, the one that will say, yeah, you can keep going. I say this lovingly, building community is the number one task activity that they are seeing college students do. Guess why? How many of you had to write up a scholarship application? How many of you have to plan for next semester for next year? Folks here is building alone that will be. So building community. Next slide, please. Real simple connectedness. Building and maintaining positive relationships, building a strong support network, and activities to enhance your connections. How many of you find that having a community you can go to talk to somebody about classes, about your homework, right? Gavin, can I share about what is it about the 5 folks you partnered with or you're connected to now?
I've got friends here on campus that I can talk with, and then I also have 2 teachers that I regularly talk with just about classes, about anything really, and it's nice to talk to them and be able to get answers. Sometimes it's random stupid questions, and sometimes it's academic questions, and it's just nice to be able to talk with someone and get honest answers. So
I have the same level when I was in college. I hope you both have somebody just like that, some professor to talk to. Critical. Sometimes we have the questions and we don't agree on the classes because we might be theirs. But think about that when you have a chance to do office hours. You get to know you. Professors should get to know you. You should get to know you.
Tennyson, I just want to let you know that I'm not sure if you're speaking near your laptop or wherever the mic is. The sound is not coming in as clearly.
Over
So
here?
Here, I can hear you better now. Let's see.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So let me go back. Community. Susanna, is anyone asking any questions or want to have any answers around any of this? How many of the students out there have actually saw themselves build a community? Build a
No
support?
questions or comments yet.
Okay. Next slide, please. Again, we want to make sure you understand the boundaries that are necessary, healthy ones, all the physical, the emotional, all of these are important for you, okay? Again, community, building your community equals more likelihood to stay in college. And please remember one thing, when you all leave us and you graduate to another school or wherever you go, this is the first task I want you to think about. As Gavin said, get to know your professors, get to know your counselors, get to know folks, build your community. Next slide, please. Last time we spoke about core beliefs, thoughts, and feelings on behavior. Does anyone remember what we were talking about? Did anyone remember the thoughts or the notes? Slide, please. These are the views that we think about ourselves, others, in the world. So this is you, others, and future. You're the center. Okay, and most of the time they're developed in childhood, and they shape our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. Positive core belief would be, I'm capable and I'm worthy, and the negative one is, I'm not good enough. And when you take these core beliefs, do you think it impacts your thoughts and your beliefs? And feelings? Hello. Okay, so think about this. This is your core beliefs. That is the center. That's what controls everything else. These are things I want you to think about. Why do I believe this about myself and how do I view others? Again, they start in childhood. How am I doing, Susanna? Can they hear me?
Can hear you better, yes.
Okay, they start in childhood. It could be something as sad that somebody goes, oh, you're an ugly child. That's what stick with you. That's not true. That's never true. Next slide, please. Talk about thoughts. I always mess up. I just came up with something real sad, real ugly. Makes you sad, it makes you frustrated. Here's the key thing. You rephrase that and make a positive thought. It is not going to be easy for you to say, I'm not ugly, or I always mess things up. But what you try to do is make it a positive. Come on, are we using a positive statement out from I'm not ugly? So sad, that was a bad. I couldn't think of one.
We'll switch. I am highly intelligent.
Oh,
Got nothing to do with looks.
oh, there you go. I'm highly intelligent. And it has nothing to do with looks. Did you just do what we wanted you to do? Take your belief and turn it into a positive thought and turn it into a positive feeling. That's a good one. I do like using that one. Hey, when you're starting to sink down, you're thinking bad things about yourself. There's two things you can do. Turn it around. I'm always messing things up. Turn it around. I can learn from my mistakes. How many of you already say that to yourself? I'm learning from my mistakes. I'm learning because I did it once and I'll do better next time. That's me too. Okay. Next slide, please. Now we're going into feelings. And to be honest, I always get anxious about doing a presentation. And I learned from way back when I was your age, I wasn't doing presentations. But nowadays, I say bring it on. But I too was avoiding presentations in class. It's practicing, making sure I feel more comfortable doing it, and being prepared. That's why nobody gets my slides till like 2 hours before. I'm always walking through my presentation. Okay, positive feelings lead to constructive behaviors. Next slide. Okay, now we're going to repeat from last session, review from last session. Identifying and challenging thinking traps. Next slide. This is a lot, but remember when we talked about some of these? Does anybody remember what this means, all or nothing? Don't worry, we'll go to the next page. Labeling, should statements. Let's go to the next page. We went over this last time. Any questions, Susanna, from the crowd, from my new fan base?
Questions yet?
Cynthia, sure. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Remember all this? All or nothing. I'm not a total success means I'm failing. How many of you know folks that will say that to you? Overgeneralization. There were so many silences. There was so many silences during my interview. I am always so awkward. Truth is, that's not happening. Think about that statement. Mental filter. Because I got one low rating on my evaluation, which also contains several high ratings, it means I'm doing a lousy job. Again, these are examples of what these thinking traps can happen to us. Discounting the positive would be like discounting a compliment by thinking, they're just being nice. They were just being nice. Well, no, that's not true. They were nice because they liked you. My reading, she would never go on a date with me. She must think I'm ugly. That's a hard one. Went over this last time, so I'm just going to review it. Fortune telling, how about this one? I'm going to fail my test. I'm going to fail this class. Is that a thinking trap that you can get yourself caught up in? How would you change that? Nodding your head, go for it. How would you
I think
change?
just reassuring yourself and taking it when you need it.
Okay, that's good enough. She did not say taking it so you make it. I'm going to fail. Well, this is how you change that behavior. You change it into behavior. I'm going to fail turns to I'm not doing well in my class. Let me study. Let me put extra 2 hours tomorrow so I'm ready for class. Let me rewrite my notes so I can study better for this class. Let me talk to someone like Gavin or Naomi or Yvonne. I can talk to somebody so I learn the material better. That magnification means getting a mediocre evaluation proves it's not inadequate. That doesn't mean anything. But these are traps that you have in your head. These are comments that you have in your head that started in childhood. And what we're saying now is let's turn around these thinking traps because we don't want you caught in them. Okay? Because when you say this stuff to you, you start behaving this, you start thinking this, and of course you're starting to feel isolated, frustrated, all of the above. Emotional reasoning, I feel in love, so I really must be in love. Comment on that one? I hear some people say they don't like me, so I must be not lovable. Or I'm doing something wrong, that's why they don't like me.
There's a quote my mom will say, like, your feelings will get your butt whooping that your mind and your body are gonna have to pay for.
Say that one more time.
Your feelings will get you a butt whooping that your mind and your body are gonna have to pay for. Like, so if you let your emotions run you, somebody's gonna have to pay for it. And it's gonna,
Most likely, right? How about this one? Should statement. Terrible that I made this mistake. I should always do my best. Think about that statement. I'm going to tell you something. Y'all, we're all going to fail. It's just the most resilient part of you is how do I address that failure and become better? Always. How many of you took your first lesson and go, oh my gosh, I got a C. B. A C. And we'll go to that. How did you guys feel? First class in college. Did you? How do you feel now, though? You feel better taking tests? You feel more confident that you have to talk and get the material in your head? How'd you do that? Oh my gosh, you guys are so good. I did not pay them for these answers. Okay, so what did you do differently? You changed your behavior. And now you can't say that to me because you are always doing your best now because of all the resources you have. Did they tell you anything this in high school? In high school?
it was mentioned.
It was mentioned. Drill down like this. Again, what we're talking about today, I want this to be with you all of it. These horrible thoughts and comments and about who you are, you have the power to change that. You have the power to inside and you have the skill set to change these comments, make it better for you. And I appreciate the candidates. Because this is not easy to say I failed, but next, second to last, labeling. I can't believe I made a mistake at work. I'm such a fool. I don't think anybody else would be a fool. Yeah. Okay, so again, be loving to yourself. We all fall, we all do something stupid. It doesn't have to be stupid. It's about who we are as human beings. Personalization is, my mom is always so upset. She would be fine if I wasn't such a screw up. Happens, blame yourself. Blame yourself because of something you've done. Again, these are traps. They make you get caught in something. Turn it around, that's all I'm asking of you. Think about ways that you can be stronger out. Next slide, please. These are ways to change them. Figure out what the evidence is. Look at how you can assess your strengths and then looking at it from a different perspective. Create alternative thoughts. Increase awareness. Shift your focus. Unhooking thoughts. All of this is about changing the way you deal with your thoughts. And then what happens is you start looking at your strengths, you look at your perspectives, you are able to step away, you are able to assess your strengths again, okay? You're having a chance to really look at what's going on. And then, of course, it changes, and this is all leading to improved thinking, moods, and actions. So here's the difference. You said it. I loved it. All or nothing. I didn't pass the test, so I'm a complete failure. I didn't pass the test, but I've learned a lot through the process. Different. Do you feel better? Do you feel smarter? Do you feel more empowered that you know what you're doing? It's the way you change. You said it beautifully. I started going to my resources. I talked to the faculty. I talked to the counselor. Okay. My reading. Okay, I'm not going to say any professors. My professor thinks I'm an idiot. my professor has never told me he thinks I'm an idiot, and I work hard at learning. I had a teacher in high school that kind of called me a boba before boba was a correct guy, okay? And I thought, oh, he just hurt me. Actually, after that, I said, I'm gonna be better than that. Emotional reasoning, I feel anxious, so this must be a scary situation. Again, the thought would be I feel anxious about the situation, but when I have been in similar situations and things have worked out for me, just fine. Just the fact that you're thinking about it. Next page. Again, I think I did this case. Oh no, it's back here again.
Yeah, there we go.
Alex, we're gonna break up in groups, and we're gonna read the story of Alex. Next page. And I want you to think about what's going on with Alex. Think about the thoughts, the core values, the behaviors. How can we help Alex? You are not going to pre-med, you're going to be social workers. 2 minutes, period. Somebody want to read about Alex? Okay, Alex is a 20-year-old college sophomore who's been struggling with depression for the past year. The pressures of academic performance, social expectations, and personal issues have taken a toll on Alex's mental health. Can you kind of say, yeah, that happens to us? Alex was enrolled in the demanding course load. Yeah, that happens to us. That is relatable, huh? Including several advanced classes that required extensive study and project work. All of a sudden, 24-hour days are starting to make you feel 36-hour days. The pressure to maintain a high GPA and meet deadlines led to chronic stress and anxiety. He felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of assignments and exams, resulting in sleepless nights and difficulty concentrating. To cope with his feelings and to encourage sleep, he began baby THC. This takes the edge off Alex's anxiety, but he often wakes up feeling groggy and guilty due to eating excessive sugary snacks the night before. This cycle of stress, the vaping, the binge eating has led to decreases in time spent doing things he enjoys, like socializing with his friends, playing soccer, and riding his bicycle. Despite these challenges, Alex is determined to build resiliency and improve overall well-being. So, where do the groups improve? Before. Tell me what's going on with Alex. What are some of the issues? What are some of the behaviors that are not helping for them? What you should be concerned about? And what are some of the things you would like to see him change? And that means you guys too, at the other schools, could you do that? Sit down together and figure out what are some of the issues that Alex is presenting. You want to talk about what some of the things, how he's reacting to all these issues of anxiety and stress, and what are some of the recommendations?
There you go. Is it okay? Shut off?
Presentation, how was that? Are you guys still working together? I have to unmute.
I don't know. What the-
Sorry, you're having technical problem.
Okay, can, is it echoing on your guys' end?
I muted myself.
It is? Okay, wonderful.
I muted.
Hmm. Okay. Thompson crew. I don't know who that is, but tell me if it's still echoing. A little bit? Okay.
Alternative could be, would you be able to call in with the dial-in by phone ID? I can place that in the chat, and maybe that way you don't have to use your mic on your laptop or computer. Let me place that. 1 second.
We'll try it.
Yeah.
We'll try it.
Would you like to do it on your phone?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it on my phone.
So you're just
The number's in the chat, and it's also on your calendar invite in case you want to use either.
Exercise for those in the room.
Can you guys hear me? Oh,
Whoever just spoke does have an echo. Do I have an echo? Can you hear me okay?
no echo.
Thank you, Gavin. I do hear an echo whenever anyone else speaks.
Ne-
That blue dot you see on the screen is me.
That creates an echo.
Say that again, sorry. Can we try this? I will go ahead and take over the presentation so that we can leave the mic open for Dr. Tennyson. Sorry about the feedback. Can we try the sound now? Are you able to see my screen? Thank you. I see the thumbs up, thanks.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kevin, I got Renee coming.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Was that Gavin?
Outside?
Apologies for the technical difficulties. We are working on resolving them. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Hello? Can you hear us? We're having problems. Oh, I need to go further out, huh? Where do I need to go, Gavin?
We can hear you. We can hear Gavin.
Pretty good. Am I better now? I don't
Yes,
see my
who's this? Is this
slide,
Dr.
please.
Jefferson?
Okay, wait, please. Next slide. I'm still gonna, okay.
We can hear you good now.
We made it work. Okay. We had Alex. What were some of the issues that you were seeing with Alex? Behavior. What was going on for Alex? You probably forgot him. He's now 40 years old. What happened with Alex? What were some of the behaviors? Gavin, go back to the last page so we can remember. Okay. So first of all, he was having major issues because he had a lot on his plate, correct? He had problems sleeping at night. And when that started, what happened? He started vaping THC. Okay. What happened to that? He started feeling groggy. He wakes up groggy. He's guilty. Are you leaving? Thank you. Due to eating, and he started eating poorly. Okay. And this led to decreases in time spent doing things he liked. So what did you guys come up with? What did you talk about? What were some of the issues you were hearing about Gavin? Because I'm trying to remind you that was happening about 40 minutes ago. Yvonne, I saw that look. This outside the classroom. Let's get going here. Okay, I think it should pop up. What happened? His behavior. He started sleeping poorly. He started vaping. He was struggling with his classes. He was probably feeling really bad about himself and about what he was attempting to do. And of course, his thoughts. It should be popping up all these answers that I'm giving you. If it pops up, touch it. Oh, there you go. Okay, behaviors. He was withdrawing from social activities. He avoided studying. Hey, it's working. Vaping increases and skips classes. He spends more time alone and he's thinking more and more about his failure. Did that come up in your conversations? And what happens when he starts thinking about it? His behavior starts leading to his thoughts? What was it? Somebody read it for me. Okay, I will read it for you because I just realized I had the phone. I'm a failure. I will never be able to catch up. And then, of course, what happens? It's a little cycle. You could see it. These little arrows are falling around each other. He becomes overwhelmed. He becomes anxious and depressed. And then, of course, he starts feeling a sense of hopelessness and I can't remember that. Thank you. Self-doubt. You could do that part for me. Thank you. Okay. Has this happened to any of you? Not that you start vaping, but do you see this as a behavior you know in your friends? In your friends, in your family members, folks that you talk to every day, they fail, they receive poor grades, and they start withdrawing. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a look at how we can help them. Next slide, please. Look at it. So can somebody read? Oh, you can't read because you won't be heard. Alex, can everybody see this? Alex seeks feedback from the professor. Somebody said that earlier. She starts reaching out to the professor. She starts reaching out to her friends because what happens now is he's now talking to his professor. He wants to know how he can improve. What does he do next? He creates a study plan that will help him become better. And he, guess what? That community of his becomes activated, and he reached out to classmates for study sessions. And then, of course, was eating the sugar and vaping good ideas for him? No. What he starts doing is he needs to think about self-care activities to manage stress. Of course, remember how we said not just the poor part of thinking, it's also turning it around. That word BUT turns it around on you. His thought was, this grade is a setback, but it doesn't define my abilities. I can learn from this experience. And what's the last word, Kevin? And and improve my performance in the future. Makes sense, right? And then what happens to his feelings? He becomes more determined, hopeful, and motivated. And now he feels a sense of resilience and a willingness to take a, what is it? To take a constructive action. So guess what? He's turned around the feelings, he's turned around the thoughts, and he's going to be working actively to do better on the job at school. And this happens anywhere. Don't think this is only happening in school. This happens in your life in general. You're always trying to figure out what you do right and what you do wrong. And you don't think about wrong, but what are some of your challenges? Okay, next slide, please. Oh, look at this. What happens to his thinking? I'm now capable of overcoming challenges and growing from my experiences. My worth is not defined by a single grade. Do you think he feels better about himself? Do you think he's changed his perspective? Do you guys think this could happen to you? Mm-hmm. Because that's what we want from this conversation. How do you take things that bring you down? How you take that and think about it from one single action and how you turn that around. Next slide, please. Okay, we're going to be talking about personal resilience, and that's just about how you could build your own personal resilience. Because I felt lonely out in the hallway. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is really important when you're building your resilient routines. Start small. Don't try to overcome and do great stuff. Start small, be consistent, be flexible, and reflect. Is it working? It's a small thing I'm doing. Am I going to be consistent about it? And will I take care of myself? Always reflect, because you are your best and sometimes your worst enemy. Next slide, please. Oh, there you go. So when you start with goals, this is how you change your mindset. Set realistic goals and embrace the learning process. Several times I've talked about this SMART goal process. Goals should be realistic. Can someone here give me an example of an unrealistic goal? Thank you, Naomi. I'm going to be the president of the United States before I turn 24, and right now I'm 23. Okay. Any thoughts? How do we? That's not going to happen. First of all, she has to be 35. Okay. But is that a realistic goal for Naomi? Yeah. What could be a realistic goal? Turn that around. What can be a realistic goal? I'll be more active in politics. That's a good goal. And I would drill you down. How would you do that? What ways would you hold yourself accountable? And what are some of the action items on that? But right now, we're not going to touch all that. Realistic goals could be as simple as it is 5 weeks before school ends. We graduate everybody by May 15th. Congratulations to Gavin, since I'm using his phone. May 15th, I want to get an A in this class, and these are tasks that I need to do. I want to get a B in this class, and these are the tasks I need to do. So what we talked about earlier is reframing the thoughts and practice self-compassion. Did I just say that earlier? Love yourself. Practice emotion, manage stress effectively. What do you do after you complete a paper? You've done, it's the end of the week and you completed a homework assignment that was huge. You completed a paper. What do you do? How do you take care of yourself? Go ahead. What do you binge watch? Oh, daughter. Naomi shares that she puts on a face mask and binge watch K-dramas. I go shopping. Oh, there's nods out here. A lot of us, many of us women in here go, yeah, that's what I'll do. You'll find me at TJ Maxx. Okay, feedback, embrace feedback to learn and grow. Oftentimes we think feedback is a way to feel attacked or hurt by someone. It's a way to look at it. This is someone who's trying to help me learn and grow. Okay, just switch everything around. Next slide, please. Examples of resilient habits. Okay, we talked about this a while back, but I wanted to reiterate this. Regular exercise to boost your mood and energy levels. If you aren't doing physical activity, think about something you could do once or twice or 3 times a week, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes. It could be walking this campus. Okay? Think about keeping yourself grounded, and that's by deep breathing. At one of my other jobs, we used to have the 4-7-8 plan. 4 seconds is to inhale, 7 is to hold it, and then 8 to exhale. I might have got the numbers wrong, but it's a way to kind of like ground yourself. Healthy eating. Was Alex eating well? He was eating sugary stuff and he was vaping. Keep that in mind. We talk about eating well. Eat your veggies, eat everything, but keep yourself to maintain a physical health, good physical health. Okay. Sleep. Last year, the study that was done by our students showed that students were using social media, right, Gavin? And they found this, our students were using 7 hours were on 7 hours social media time per day, right? Per 24 hours. 7 hours, is it? Smart. 7 hours. Ooh. And then the next group that I can't remember which group it was, but I do remember the study. They found that college students only sleep on average 4 hours a day. What's weird about that picture? 7 hours on your social media and 4 hours a day. Switch it. Switch it. And that's what I was thinking. Drop your social media is great. I get it. You all need that connection with folks, but sleep gives you a chance to reboot yourself every night. What's that? I'm going to go around this room. And if you folks over at the other colleges, how many hours do you sleep, Yvonne, per night? You're just saying that because I told you to. 7. Yvonne says 7. Naomi.
4 or 3.
What are you doing other times? Okay. How about you? How many hours do you sleep a night? How many? 5. Okay, I got 3 and 5s, and 1 7 or 8. How about you? How many hours do you sleep? 6. How many hours are you on your social media? Okay. This is my challenge to all of you here and online. How many of you sleep less than 5 hours a night? Please switch to numbers. If you're on your phone, 5 hours, 6 hours, switch it around and sleep 1 extra or 2 extra hours. You'll find yourself better rested. Okay? That's your challenge. When I see you all again, I plan to see you all again, think about that. How do you start sleeping better, sleeping longer, take care of yourself? You need to always, always reboot yourself. Okay, social connections, I cannot see all of it, but again, we talk about that's part of how you keep yourself grounded, how you make sure you're connected to others. I'll say it again. They found studies that showed building community leads to persistence, staying on focus, and graduating. And those students that had fewer connections on campus were more likely to drop out. Find folks out there that will be your allies and your champions. Next page, please. Okay, we're just going to talk about this area right here. It's not very much, but it's really important about what's important to you. What are your values? Why is it important to know what your values are? And what are some of your barriers? Why is that important? Values are important because if you don't believe in something, I tell this to a lot of the students, if you don't believe in something, you're more likely to drop out of that area, that topic, that job. Many times when we're talking to students, I want to make sure that they know that what they find a job that they like, find out if that company shares the values you have. Maybe some companies want you to come in 4 o'clock in the morning, you get paid this money. That might be a good place to start, but that may not be your long lasting job. Okay. You want to know what's important to you. How many of you also think about family? We have not even said family. How many of you really think about your family? I think one of the hardest things that we have when we were looking at that wheel, managing commitments, we don't talk about the holidays. How many of you feel like you have to be with your family during holidays? But guess what happens during holidays? Your finals are due. If you are moving on to another college, your paperwork, all your applications are due by November. You've got all this stuff happening, and then you also get the demands from family too. So you have to figure out how to take care of yourself. But again, it's part of figuring out what's important to you. Okay. And then figuring out how to create a values action plan. It's important. I was doing another class on this just the other day. Creating a plan of action is like the first thing you do in our field. You want to make sure that you have a plan that you could go back to and figure out what needs to happen. Next page, please. And next page. We picked up 4, work education. Am I still, I should stay back outside. Work education, leisure, relationships, personal growth. Yeah, what's important to you? For some of you, I value getting a good education and graduating with a BS in biology. That's important. Leisure, I value exploring the world and learning about new cultures. Last year, my daughter took me to Paris. And I never thought I'd go, but it was the fact that she pushed me out of my comfort zone and took me to Paris. And that was just amazing for me, opened my eyes. Relationships, I like to nurture, I value nurturing my close knit group of friends. Okay. And then your personal growth, I value moving my body every day. Again, it's about your commitment, your adventure, your compassion, and fitness. Next page, please. Barriers. Can somebody read them? And I'll put the phone right under your mouth.
External pressures, fear of consequences, limited resources, habitual behavior, and cognitive dissonance.
Do you want to take 1 or 2 and let's tackle it? When you have a barrier, what does it mean when you are fearful of consequences? Not just you, Neil, but you could speak. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean when you're fearful of consequences?
You avoid behaviors because you avoid pushback.
Yes. And you avoid behaviors, you're afraid to step out of your box, your comfort zone, so that you fear what's going to happen to you. And that could be a barrier. If you're staying in your box, can you grow? Can you learn? Can you take what you learn and help that make you a better person or a better student? Okay. So that's what fear of consequences means. You're afraid something's going to happen. How about limited resources? Somebody mentioned that earlier. What's it mean to have a limited resource as a barrier? It could be something as simple. I may not have transportation to school that's dependable. I may not have funding to get some of the books. Those could be challenges ahead. Keep in mind, all of this happens to all of us. I don't want you thinking, oh, this only happens to me at Napa Valley College or Hartnell or Mission. This happens to all of us. So you have barriers and you try to figure out what these barriers are so you could start dealing with them ahead of the game. I think sometimes for college students, though, one of the worst is, if I did this, will this happen to me? If I should fail a class, will I drop out of school? That's what we talk about when we think about it from really broad level. Same thing for behaviors that can hurt you. And that's why we want you here. We want you to know that we're here to help you and watch you grow. And part of growing is learning new things about you, who you are. about yourself and your study habits and how they all fit in with your future goals. Next slide, please. This is just an example of aligning yourself with your values. So this was done, and I would have, if we had a chance, I would want you to think about how this plays into who you are. But we talked about work, education, leisure, growth, and relationships. And this is where you could think about how satisfied am I with my relationships, with again with family, friends, colleagues. How happy am I with what I'm doing in school? This is about you. The closer, of course, you are to the red dot means that you're doing close to what you want to achieve. Any comments on this? Next page, please. SMART goals. Before we leave, I know Dr. Gonzalez loves this because I think it's really important. Earlier, we talked about plans, we talked about goals. This is super, super important for you to keep yourself on top of what you're doing. SMART goals is an acronym for being specific. We talked about you want to become the president, or the other one was get involved in politics. Is that specific? That's too vague. So you'd want to say, I'd like to get involved in politics by meeting several of the candidates that are running for mayor. Say, I'm going to do that by a certain date. I just want to hear how they stand and do they align with my values? Measurable. What's the progress? Are you actually achieving, actually able to say, I will do this by June 30th? Achievable? Is it realistic? Or is it relevant and around your broader goals? And then, of course, it has to have a timeline or deadline. So this is super important to think about when you're writing your goals setting up. And I think that's it, Gavin. Yeah. Any questions? Anyone have any questions? Oh, okay, the question out there, it's not a question, it's a comment, right? One of the tasks you have is that you need to start breaking bad habits so you become a better student and you're able to study. Anyone want to tackle that? Give her some ideas. What do you do to make sure that you're on top of your classes and your studies? Go ahead, Yvonne.
Oh, I'm going to study here, and that becomes like my study environment because I know that at home I wouldn't be able to study at all. In that way, I also get coffee, and I recently want coffee a lot, so that's another pro for me. And of course, I would want to get my work done, so I try to finish everything there and not have anything at home. I want to get home at like not a big time, so like by doing that, I get to do it like pretty quickly.
So sometimes you take yourself out of the environment and I do that too. I go someday we'll see each other at Starbucks. But I like to study like you. I like to focus myself, and by not being in the same environment, I have a place where I feel it's mine. And you also hold yourself accountable because you want to leave that place, right? I mean that lovingly. Anyone else? Any other thoughts for you? Just what I have been reading on studies being done. You retain the information when you're writing it. As you all popped out your laptops, you retain information when you write your notes because it's not just popping it into the computer, you're actually having to do an action item there. That's another way you could change your behavior. The other one is, like you said, give yourself blocks of time when you want to study. And that means everything is taken out, no TV, no reading, but you reward yourself at the end of the day or end of the week. Okay. After this, I'm going to make myself a nice banana milkshake. Okay? Because I know that I want you to learn this. This takes a lot of work to put this together, but I believe in all of you. I believe in you guys too at Mission and Hartnell. Okay. Any last comments? I think I'm getting you all out early. What time is it? Oh, I'm getting you out early. I appreciate all your time, your patience. Again, we have sent this uh, to Kaiser. If you want copies, please feel free. We can get them to you by that way. I appreciate the fact that we had a glitch and most of you hung in there with us. Thank you to everybody online. Thank you so much. Um, it's really important to all of us that we stay together because this is one of your community groups. This college, your college, and the fact that you all can hang out together. So thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, that's it.